I'm Montefusco, Transformational Writing Coach, and this is the healing power of words. Create with passion and write powerful stories that have impact. And today we have a very special guest, Angela Turpin. She's a breakthrough coach certified in NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. She helps women who are feeling stuck, trapped, and defeated get unstuck, thrive, and become unstoppable. She spent the last several years empowering women to find their purpose and thrive. Having spent years dealing with depression, anxiety, and feeling stuck and trapped, she turned her traumatic past into power. Committed to helping women see their true potential, Angela has helped women see their power through journaling, virtual training series, and one-on-one coaching. Passionate about healing the past and letting things go, she's created a successful and thriving environment for women to grow, learn, and become unstoppable. I love that. Hi, Angela.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I love that you do timeline therapy. One of my best friends did that years ago, and it was so effective. You have so many great skills.
Yes, it's actually been one of the most powerful therapies that I've been a part of personally. And when I work with my clients one-on-one, I see the transformation from one session to the next. It's like an immediate change. It's been one of the most powerful things I've done and that I've learned. And it's just been amazing.
Give us a little hint at what it is so people understand a little bit about timeline therapy.
Sure. So the way I think about it is that your unconscious mind comes forward, and that's just the part of us that kind of carries and keeps all our memories, comes forward and tells us where we need to go in our timeline, where maybe some type of trauma or emotion is trapped. And you go in and you don't necessarily go into the event where you're re-experiencing it. You just go into it, see it, and then you learn all the positive lessons that you need to learn from it. And then your unconscious mind comes back and you release all the power it had over you. And then you're like this brand new person right after.
I love it. It's really powerful. I love that you're doing that. Here, let me fix my light just a second. What are the projects you're up to right now? Anything new? What's going on?
Well, right now I'm actually creating the perfect journaling morning ritual, where it's something that I've been doing recently. Within, I think, about the last year, I've been perfecting what I do in the morning. And so I journal for about 15 to 20 minutes, whatever happened the day before and what I expect to happen in my day that I'm currently in. Mm-hmm. And then I ask my future self, what should I do today? What should my goals be today? And then I have a couple of questions.
Oh, cool.
Angela, what is it that I can do for you? What is it that you need from me? So that I'm making sure that I'm connecting to myself, that I'm listening to myself. And then I just do mantras and affirmations and then intentions and then a gratitude list. And then that's what I do. And that's what I'm perfecting and trying to give out to people, because a lot of people don't know how to journal, they say. And so I feel like with this guideline, it's like you journal for 10 to 15 minutes, then you do this, then you do this, and then you do this. And so it's laid out so that there's not any questions about what you have to do.
I love it. Tell us how you started journaling. You have an interesting story.
Yes. So I was very depressed as a child. So I started writing when I was about 12 years old. And I had some things from my past that I hadn't quite remembered what had happened. And so I was just a very depressed kid, and I turned to journaling. And then I stopped for a while and then went through a pretty nasty breakup when I was 24, I think, and turned to it then. And it really saved me because, during a breakup, you have all these emotions just running through you. And I didn't know what to do with him. And I didn't want to text him or contact him all the time. So I wanted to be broken up with the whole situation. Totally. So I went to my journal. And then, of course, I stopped. And then when I was about 26, 27, I think, I picked it up again. because I was really going through it this time.
Mm.
I thought that I was grieving the death of my stepdad, and that was just a surface issue. And
Mhm.
just to say that that was a surface issue is bizarre to me, but it really was. I had so much more going on.
Wow.
I had suffered from childhood sexual abuse, and then I had been attacked a couple of times as an adult. And so all of that stuff was just starting to come up. And so it really saved me from anxiety,
Mhm.
depression. It really got me back on track to really enjoying my life and to get present with my life again. And if I hadn't turned to it, I don't know like where I would be at right in this moment. So it was very
Wow.
powerful, and it continues to stay very powerful in my life.
Wow. So yeah, there's been tons of studies about how expressive writing and journaling, even just a little bit a day, heals tremendous trauma.
Yes.
But people seem to have this thing on like, well, how do I know if I'm journaling correctly? What would you say to that question? Like,
I actually love this question because and I hate to say this, but when people actually ask that, they're just thinking about it too much. There
mm,
is no right or wrong way to journal. As long as you're writing something down, then you're technically journaling right. Eventually, what happens, as long as you do it consistently, you become more comfortable with the words that you're putting down on paper. A
mm,
lot of my clients tell me, and I was actually just speaking about this on Saturday. A lot of my clients tell me, I don't want to journal because then it's a reflection of me back to me, and I don't want to see that. And
mm,
I get that. And there's a lot of judgment towards what we've done. There's a lot of guilt and shame and fear of who we truly are. But if you just write even just a little bit every single day, it doesn't matter what it is, eventually you get more comfortable, and eventually you'll start diving deeper into whatever it is that you're writing, because you become, like I said, you just become comfortable with writing.
and you don't have to necessarily read it right away or even read
No.
it, right?
No, no, no. And I don't recommend this until you feel very comfortable going back to reading it. And I say this because I made the mistake thinking that when I was postpartum, I had left my daughter's dad when I was 13 weeks pregnant. So I was really going through it, and I was reading back to the journals that I had when I was postpartum, and I was just crying and crying,
Wow.
and I was like, this was a huge mistake. I was not ready to see this. And so I think that you can go back to read them, but only if you feel comfortable with seeing that mirror, with seeing that
Mm.
reflection, and you want to make sure that you're there. Otherwise, it might set you back, and that's something that you don't want.
Do you organize your journals? Do you like, um, well, you put the dates in them, yeah? Yeah, that's how
Yeah,
I
I
can tell.
date them.
That's the
Yeah.
only way I can tell. Like when I go into a journal, I'm like, well, when was this? I'm like, I,
Yeah.
I finally, I'm 51 now, so I finally got to the place where I went and I collected them all in two big bins. And I'm like, I don't need to keep them all. Like I might want to keep some of them, but I think I'm ready to sort of burn some of them now.
Oh,
Do you ever have those kinds of rituals?
yes, but I don't necessarily burn my journals per se. I haven't been fully ready to do that. I
Mhm.
actually think that that's a great idea. But I have written letters on separate pieces of paper
Mhm.
and burn them, because I feel like that's very powerful, because
Mhm.
it's almost like you're letting go of those emotions. You're letting go of whatever event took place and whatever power it has over you. So
Mm.
I like burning the separate pieces of paper if I
Yeah.
really feel it's necessary. Even if you're writing forgiveness letters, and I've done that a
Mhm.
couple of times and just burn them, and it's been very powerful.
That's awesome. I love this. Let's see here. So, do you have a particular like kind of journal that you like? I know some people are very picky. They're like, "Oh, I can't write in this because it's not pretty enough, or it's too pretty and I don't want to write in it." Or, like do you ever come across your favorite journals or people who get stuck based on the actual, like what it looks like?
Yes, people do. People have asked me that. Well, what's going to make me write more? Or what if I don't have any money? Some of
Mm.
my first journals came from the dollar store, and they were a pack of 90-page journals each. And, that's what I could afford at the time. And that's just what I did. So you can really find journals anywhere. They can be notebooks, whatever you find. It doesn't have to be a constraint based on money or what it looks like.
Mm.
Now, if the cutest pretty journal is going to make you write more, then yes, do that. But I don't like this is my current journal, and I just found it at Kohl's because I just happened to be there. So if I see journals and I'm out
Yeah, that's
shopping,
what I
I
do.
just pick them up.
I just collect them. I'm like, oh, I have my own little library of empty books, whenever I need to go over to something.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a particular sweet spot of like the amount of time to journal if you're in a process of healing?
I say, if you were in the process of healing, I say write until you can literally feel the emotions release from your body.
Mm.
And so it depends on what that is for you or anybody really, because it can depend, right? For me, that might be a couple of hours. It might be 10, 15 minutes. It just depends on where you're at and your ability to release the emotions. And I really feel like you can literally feel them coming out of your body when you have fully released them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what about being consistent in terms of daily journaling? Like I find that when I even just take 10 minutes in the morning, just to like the morning pages, you've heard of Julia Cameron's morning pages, just get 3 pages out. Sometimes I don't do three, sometimes I do two. But there's something about just like not worrying about anyone seeing it and just getting something out of my system that feels good.
Yes, so I personally think that consistency is key. I mean, consistency is the key for just about anything that you want to make a habit or a ritual. I- when you're first starting, I highly recommend that you do it 7 days a week, at
Mhm.
least once, until it's a habit, so much so that you go to it for a certain amount of time or whatever you're comfortable with. The best way I think that I have found, especially for my clients, is when they put it as part of a self-care routine. So if they
Excellent.
already have something going on, they just kind of add to it. So then that way it just picks up as part of the ritual and the habit, and it's just a lot easier that way. But I recommend 7 days a week when you're first starting off, at least as much time as you can allow. I know that people struggle with time constraints, but whatever you can put in, I recommend that. And I also recommend that you journal for however long you feel is going to work for you. There's just no right or wrong answer for it. But just the process of writing is all about finding that clarity and the connection and that safe self expression.
Mhm.
And I feel like when we're journaling, that safe self expression is the most important component, because we are afraid to speak to people because of the judgment of the things that we might say. And so, because of that, we don't say everything that is on our mind, and we don't say the things that are going to potentially hurt someone because we don't want to hurt them. And so, the journaling just creates this space where it's totally allowed, no matter how bad or ugly your words are or thoughts are. It just creates that opportunity to let it all out without being judged and without really being vulnerable per se, at least in front of another person.
That's fantastic. Do you feel that women journal easier than men? I mean, you work with women. I find like women are more apt to go to their journals.
I would say yes. And I haven't worked with men personally. I did when I was first starting out. I had worked with a couple. And I only say that because they are just not as emotionally expressive as women are. And so they're harder to get to open up about the
Mm.
things that are going on in their lives. And that's just because they've been conditioned that way. Our whole society has conditioned them to be this strong men that aren't allowed to have these emotions. And so when you tell them, well, you don't have to tell me, you can go to a journal, and all of a sudden, still to this day, journaling is like a girl thing to do, even though men like Tony Robbins are journaling daily. And so it's this catch 22. But I do find that women are more likely to to journal, and it is because of the way they've been conditioned.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good point about the being strong and not expressing your feelings. I remember I worked with a client for years, and when I was doing my life coaching. So I'm a transformational life coach from Erickson College. And then eventually I combined that with my MFA to be a transformational writing coach. But I remember he could not access his feelings, he couldn't describe them. And it was like, whoa, this is like 10 years ago. And I really got a big eye opener on the difference in working with men and women. But I still work with men on one-on-one. My groups are women groups, but it's fascinating when we notice the difference that women really can express their emotions. And I feel like when we're speaking to God or to ourself or to our higher power, we can let it out. Because one of the things that I love that you said is that it's a form of self-care routine. And I think that the majority of the time, women are not, they're putting themselves last. It's a weird phenomenon that's still happening, and I think it comes from biology, like we're supposed to take care of the kids first and, then ourselves last. It's also, I was just in the Tony Robbins, Unleash Your Power retreat, and he was talking about how men, their job after having a kid is to go provide. So they tend to go, they're not as connected. So they take care of themselves because they got to survive, like out in the wild back when there was saber-toothed tigers and all that. But now we're in a place where women, I think it's really important for us to put the oxygen mask on first, because we're in a time where women, and I think the feminine power is much stronger. So I really love that you said it was a form of self-care. I think you also talked on your website something about releasing codependency, and releasing those kinds of issues that women, we don't realize we have. Have you had experiences working with your clients where they go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been neglecting myself?
Yes, most of my clients, when they come and work with me, they tell me, oh, well, I go and get my hair done. I go and get my nails done. And every once in a while, I can go and sit and watch a movie or go and take a bath. And, I take care of myself that way. And I'm always like, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do it daily, and you want to do it daily because in my eyes, it's meant to help you respond to life instead of just react.
Cool.
So you want to create this entire ritual that you're taking care of yourself every single day. And just doing that in itself allows you to see your worth, and it allows you to start cutting these codependencies. Even that, and I hate to say this, even that we have with our children, as mothers, right? We think that we don't have codependencies with our children, but in actuality we do. And it starts to, when you start to put yourself first, you start to see how important it is that not only you put yourself first, but that you take care of yourself. And because your children are seeing that. And so then they're creating this type of healthy environment for themselves, and it gets passed down to their children. And that in itself helps create self-worth and cuts codependency with anybody, because we don't want codependency. It's a terrible thing, and it creates this attachment, and it puts us in relationships that we don't want to be in. It puts us in situations that we don't want to be in, especially at work, if you're afraid to even say no to people. And it is because you have a codependency somewhere in your work, and it's connected to your self-worth. I mean, we can rabbit hole.
So codependent. So for those of you that don't know it, because I just discovered, I thought I was Miss Independence. I was like super, super strong woman from New York City, from the Bronx. Yeah, I take care of myself. I always get my shit done. I'm dialed, like literally that's, but then I noticed I mean, perhaps that's why it happened. This last relationship I was in, unfortunately, we amicably split recently, like a month ago. And so I've been doing a lot of journaling to try to process that. But I didn't know I was codependent. Like I didn't know. And so what I found out for it to mean is, let me get this, it's sort of the need to be needed. It's the need to be needed. And then I didn't know this until I was journaling about it. Like I fundamentally didn't believe I would be loved unless I was needed. As opposed to interdependence, and where two people are whole, right? And even with kids, like my friends will say, I have to let him make his own mistakes. Nothing huge, but like you can't do
Right.
everything for your child or they don't learn, And so he and I didn't know we were ridiculously codependent because we were so strong and yada yada yada. Um, so anyway, for those of you out there, codependency is something that is a very sneaky, uh, I don't know, call it issue. And women tend to fall into that. I have caretaking. Now think about the word caretaking versus caregiving, right? So, and I think that journaling is an amazing way to really break some of those internal habits that we don't even know we're doing, based on the feel like if you find yourself journaling like that you have to do, I have to do this for this person and I need to do that for this person and I got to get that, and you forget about yourself. It's almost like, do you have your clients sort of see what themes are coming up in their journal?
Yes. Most of them start to realize um, that they are the creators of their reality. And because of that, they start to see that, I've been letting myself down. I've been the
Wow.
one that has been hurting myself. I've been the one that's preventing me from these breakthroughs and the things that I want. And they just see this just within 4 weeks of journaling
Mhm.
sometimes, and it's just, those are huge breakthroughs
Huge.
to have in 4 weeks. I mean, I wasn't having those type of breakthroughs until years later. So to have them notice those kinds of things in 4 weeks is just incredible, and it's
Well, but it's
so
you.
accurate.
It's that your clients are also getting coached, right?
Yes, of
You
course.
you had to
Yes.
learn the hard way. You were doing it all by yourself, right?
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
combination of having you there for guidance, I would think that journaling and when you're helping someone on a healing journey and healing with words, which is what this writing series is about, this is an incredible piece. Writers per se sometimes forget. I mean, when I say by writers, like I'm a writer, I write poetry, I write books, I'm an author, but I will forget the power of healing in journaling, so that where no one needs to see it but me. So that's great that they have you to ask questions about the themes they see come up so they can have those bigger aha moments.
Yes, yes, and definitely. And when I'm working with my clients one on one, I never see their journal. I don't ask to see that. That's all them. I'm not there to see it. But I do ask them, what's come up for you? Tell me what's come up. And then that's where these themes start to come in. And then I ask them, certain questions that help them dig deeper. Well, what do you think the purpose of that is? What do you think that's trying to show you? And just think, if you can't answer that to me right now, that's fine, but go back and journal, because I know the answer, but I can't tell you the
Yes.
answer. You need to go and figure it out because me answering it for you is not going to help you. You've got to dive deeper into that. And then that's when they go back and they're like, this is what it is. I can't believe this.
That's awesome. It's so true. Like if I just let my hands rather just go and go and go and go and go and go and go, and I just trust the process. Even if I'm writing something, I'm like, this is crap, but it doesn't need to be great. It's journaling. And then
Right.
all of a sudden I'll come up with a line and I'll be like, is that how I really feel? Like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm feeling so weird. Like that's it. Um,
Mhm.
but it's great that you get to guide them through that process.
Yes,
That's the blessing.
it is. It's very rewarding, and it's very exciting to see those breakthroughs for my clients. And I just am grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you have a fantastic free gift for us too.
Yes, I do. It is a 3-part training series on how to get unstuck and thrive. There are 3 videos available, and they are just all designed to help you move forward right now by doing simple things, help you start thriving, and help you be aware of things that might be holding you back from, moving forward.
Awesome. So it's a video series and then people get to write and you'll guide them through the whole
Yes.
journaling process.
Yes.
I love this. So cool. Well, Angela, thank you so much for being here. You are a gift to the world. I think now more than ever, everyone should be journaling, and especially not putting everything on social media. Like, journal about it first.
Yes.
See what your feelings are, with yourself. You don't have to throw it all out on social media. Um, and you're just a sweetheart. So everyone go check out Angela and Turpin and her whole coaching program and her timeline therapy, which is amazing. And definitely get the free gift, which I'm really excited to use myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Have
you
it.
for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.